Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, Highway 77 near Refugio is back to normal after an 18-wheeler rollover shut down lanes and caused a chain reaction. Plus, truckers need to rest, but they're leaving a mess behind. The safety issue at a local way station and what officials plan to do about it. Plus, no rain means no crops, and that could mean no income for local farmers. The critical window they're watching right now.
Well, we'll be talking about the critical window that we are in because we could pretty much well say goodbye to wintertime. We're going to be looking at spring-like weather right on through 9 days, and that includes next week. So we'll talk more about it and try and look for anything that looks like rainfall coming up in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
Plus, forget the classroom. These kids are learning about careers by petting goats and feeding pigs. You're watching 25 News Now at 5. Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. I'm Shawna Currie. Well, traffic is moving again on a major crossroads highway. This morning, an overturned 18-wheeler shut down the southbound lanes of Highway 77 just north of Refugio. At least one other crash was reported as a result of the backup. Traffic was redirected onto Highway 239 until the area was cleaned up. Highway 77 reopened to all traffic just after 2:30 this afternoon. Sentencing for the former Bowling ISD board president moves to April. Back in June, federal agents arrested Jerry James Svatek for online sexual exploitation of a 4-year-old, communicating with an undercover officer in online chats about explicit acts with a child and receiving hundreds of videos of child pornography. In December, he pled guilty to 2 counts against him. A judge originally scheduled his sentencing for today, but it has now been pushed to April 10th. Svatek has since resigned from the Bowling ISD school board. The Jackson County Commissioner's Court is taking up concerns about heavy littering at the DPS way station off Highway 59. Officials say drivers often stop there to rest but leave trash behind, creating a safety issue. DPS asked to install a gate to limit access and cut down on illegal dumping. TxDOT denied the request, citing driver safety concerns. County leaders say they are now exploring other options to clean up the area and protect travelers. Well, the dry spell is not just raising fire danger, it is putting our entire agricultural community on edge. As winter turns to spring, the lack of rain still hangs over local fields. Farmers are planting right now, but one Victoria County grower says without steady rainfall in the next few months, crops and livelihoods could take a serious hit.
So we could be looking at a big devastation on, not only the farmers end, but, the livestock industry, the agriculture industry as a whole. Devastating losses could occur, and, we could be looking at some pretty troublesome times, not just for, farmers, but for the livestock, for all of agriculture.
According to the National Weather Service, the weather station at the Victoria Regional Airport has received about 1.5 inches of rainfall so far this year. Normal for this time of year should be near 3 inches. And we do have some small rain chances coming into the forecast, but won't be this weekend. Let's go to Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez for a first look at our forecast. And Mac, this looks like the weekend to get out. If you want to get on the water, go fishing, just be outside.
You can just throw away the calendar and just go with whatever you normally do when it becomes summer here. Pull out the boat, get the bait ready, get at the barbecue pit. It's going to be feeling like that. And in terms of sprinkles, rain, we've got a few sprinkles possible next week. But in the short term, for the weekend, just lots of sunshine and a little fog in the morning, obviously with the humidity, but high temperatures staying mid to upper 80s. There are some storms out there, but they're just not moving in our direction. And by next week, what we're talking about in terms of precipitation will be just a little sea breeze activity. And these are little bitty showers that come in with the Gulf moisture, but that is, to me, that is a April weather pattern. And it's just barely the end of February. So we'll try and talk about it, try and figure out what's happening with nature. But as you can see right about now, we're on the warm and humid side right on through. We'll have more details on your forecast coming up in a moment. Back to you.
This is the last day for early voting. The polls are open until 7 tonight with the primary election on Tuesday. Early voting is at the Dr. Patty Dodson Public Health Center at 2805 North Navarro. Tensions run high at the State Board of Education meeting in Austin as officials debate changes to social studies curriculum. The state updates its Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills Standards, known as TEKS. Critics say the proposed revisions emphasize American history too heavily, while conservative supporters defend the approach. The debate centers on what students should learn about America's past and present.
We have to look at history from many different perspectives and let the student of history, this is a radical idea, come up with their own conclusion.
The Texas Public Policy Foundation argues students need complete context about American achievements. Opponents worry the changes could introduce political bias into classrooms. The board's review of the curriculum standards that will shape how Texas students learn social studies is ongoing. Dozens of Trump supporters gathered ahead of the president's visit to the Coastal Bend today. Flags flew on cars and vendors sold merchandise at Water's Edge Park in Corpus Christi to show their support. President Trump spoke at the Port of Corpus Christi this afternoon, where he was expected to focus on the economy and expanding domestic energy production, just days before the primary. Local leaders also hope the visit shines a light on water infrastructure challenges as the port grows. The U.S. military used a controversial anti-drone laser system to shoot down a U.S. Customs and Border Protection drone in Texas. That's according to members of Congress. It's unclear when the incident happened. The FAA issued a temporary flight restriction Thursday night over Fort Hancock for safety. The move comes weeks after a military laser system disrupted drones near El Paso, prompting the FAA to shut down airspace. Senator Tammy Duckworth is now calling for an investigation, citing what she calls dysfunction that could endanger the nation's aviation system. Back at home, the Victoria Livestock Show hits pause to focus on its youngest visitors. Organizers say investing in the next generation is one of the most important traditions of the show. 25 News Now reporter Ray Mosley shows us how a special Kids Day is giving children a hands-on chance to learn where their food comes from and why agriculture matters.
In its 80th year, the Victoria Livestock Show Committee welcomed the community into its petting zoo and exhibit hall. The petting zoo featured a little bit of everything: goats, chicks, rabbits, ducks, and even pigs, giving kids a chance to get up close and personal with the animals. Victoria West FFA advisor Amber Novosad says the zoo is meant to educate children about their potential future in agriculture.
Knowing what what animal species are in the petting zoo will help with knowing where our food comes from, will help with knowledge about different aspects as far as veterinary and different agriculture careers that our students can have in the future. It just puts a big love in my heart to be able to spread my knowledge and also be able to help lead our members, and then our members lead the younger generations, and even provide that knowledge for all ages across our community.
Children visiting the petting zoo not only got to see the animals up close, but also learn what it takes to properly care for them. Inside the exhibit hall, more than 200 children explored booths highlighting a wide range of career opportunities. The exhibit hall gave local vendors such as Dow Sea Drift Operations a chance to showcase to children what kind of career they can achieve.
We have something for everybody here, and it's great to see the kids just learning so much, getting involved in their community, seeing what we have to offer.
The Victoria Livestock Show will wrap up Monday night with the auction. Ray Mosley, KAVU TV, 25 News Now.
And to get more news, weather, and sports, come to our website, crossroadstoday.com. Safety concerns about a popular kitchen item. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5, the dangerous defect that has already hurt multiple people. Plus, social media isn't all bad for teens, but there are risks. Coming up, how to help kids find a healthy balance. The Consumer Product Safety Commission is recalling more than 40,000 pressure cookers over a serious burn risk. The agency says the lid on Gourmet 6-quart units can open while it's still pressurized, causing hot food and liquid to spray out. 5 people report burns, 4 of them severe, and at least 2 lawsuits follow. Owners are urged to stop using the cookers and throw them away. The agency says Gourmet and Best Buy have not agreed to the recall. Gourmet maintains the product is safe when used as directed. Best Buy says it stopped selling the model years ago. A 20-year-old woman testified in Los Angeles detailing what she calls an addiction to social media. Kaylee, who is suing YouTube and Meta with her mother, claims the platforms are intentionally addictive and harmful to young users. She says she started using YouTube at 6, then staying up late and skipping class to scroll. She says autoplay, bullying, and Instagram filters contributed to self-harm and body dysmorphia. Both companies deny the claims and say they have invested in teen safety features. Her case is one of thousands filed against social media companies. And right now, social media use disorder is not an official diagnosis like gambling or substance abuse. But experts say growing evidence does show social media can take a real toll on kids and teens' mental health. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither shares how parents can help create a healthier digital balance.
It's not all bad. Social media can help children and teens create connections and be creative. But since their brains are still developing, it also comes with some risk,
including exposure to racist and sexist content, unrealistic beauty standards, disinformation, and cyberbullying.
Tamar Mendelson with the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health says parents can help create a healthy digital balance for young social media users by filling their time with in-person activities. That includes phone-free meals with family when possible, healthy bedtimes, and after-school clubs or sports.
Encouraging or requiring in-person activities can be more effective than simply banning social media because it offers concrete and hopefully enjoyable alternatives.
Next, Mendelson says to choose quality over quantity. She says because everyone is different, it's not possible to set a blanket time deemed safe to spend on social media. Instead, encourage positive online spaces that affirm their identity and expand their social circle.
This can be especially useful for young people with marginalized identities, including LGBTQ+ youth and youth with disabilities.
Finally, be aware of concerning behavior, including increasing amounts of time spent on social media sites if it's interfering with daily tasks or it's difficult to get them off these sites. Mendelson says persistent preoccupation with social media is also a problem.
Those are red flags that parents and educators should pay attention to.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Mendelson says social media can help young people find mental health support as well, as long as they're getting it from reputable sources. She says it's important that parents also use privacy settings and parental controls to help limit youth use. Well, if you see news happening, call our newsroom at 361-576-0026 or send us an email to staff@crossroadstoday.com. And that includes some pictures of this gorgeous spring-like weather, right, Mac?
We have to keep using the word spring-like because it's not spring yet. It's still winter, can you believe it? And we're finally getting into March, and that's really getting into the season there. Right now, we're at 85 degrees. The winds are out of the east at 7. Managed to get up to 86 today. And look at that. We're supposed to be about 72. That's our average for this time of the year. So we were getting close to that 91, which is a record for the day. We won't be at records, but we'll be pretty close for the next few days. We'll be talking about it after this.
Here's a look at what you can expect on Community Crossroads. We hear from Keep Victoria Beautiful, the Victoria Ballet Theater, Victoria Bach Festival, and Restoration House Ministries.
So we're moving this around the city to different businesses that have said yes. And if you find it, take a picture of it, say, hey, I found it, throw that on Facebook and tag us. We're putting you in a drawing to get your 2026 race entry covered. So you get to run for free.
Wow.
Well, if you don't have any plans for the weekend, you ought to make some, or at least go to the backyard, because maybe, I don't know, Riverside, maybe Patriots Park, because it's going to be feeling a lot like summertime out there. Temperatures are warming up, but now we had this little front that actually drifted through, but actually was a little bit of an air mass change. I mean, there wasn't a lot of cold behind it. And of course, yesterday we had that super heated pocket of hot air to the southwest of us. That is over with for today. But for the next couple of days, that Gulf air is going to start rolling back in, and really you're going to feel like it's, I don't know, early summer, because the pattern is going to be like that. Now we'll take a look around the country. One frontal system moving off. The big stormy weather in the east has finally settled down. Another little storm coming in with possibly a little rain, but doesn't look like a big snowmaker. Cold air is way up here, and there is a storm out here in the western Pacific. However, it would not be able to travel over or through this high pressure. Remember, the high pressure diverts everything up to the north, and then it'll come in somewhere over here, but not happening as far as we're concerned. Now, in 7 days, this bump should actually drop a little bit. And that's going to allow maybe the glimmer of hope for a sprinkle coming in early in the next week. Tonight, actually even to right now, we've got half-mile visibilities down along the immediate coastline. What I'm saying is it may be clear and sunny here, but if you go down to Seadrift, it's probably foggy, and you probably can't even find Seadrift right now because of the fog. That is the dense sea fog. That's the one that stays real low to the ground, and that will roll in, and the coastal areas will really be very soupy overnight. Inland areas, it'll be a little bit more patchy, but if you're down along the coast in Calhoun, Matagorda counties, you're going to be looking at really low visibilities overnight and into tomorrow morning. But then it burns off as the heat comes back in. Here's the special weather statement for that sea fog that you have down along the immediate coastline. So Ostwell, you're going to have trouble finding Ostwell if you're driving down there with that very, very dense marine fog. So what about winds? Well, tomorrow they'll kick back in. They'll be out of the southeast. They'll be moderate. They won't be as howling as they were a couple of days ago because we don't have any storms forming up north. But as we go through the weekend, the afternoon sea breeze will get a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger. And by the time we get to next week, it's going to feel like summertime because we're switching around. In other words, we don't have the frontal systems coming through, but what we're going to have is basically enough moisture that heating will pop a few little sea breeze showers. Just to give you an idea, I showed this map earlier in the week, but just so you get me here, what we had in December was only 93 hundredths. We're supposed to average about 2.3 inches of rain for the month. In January, we only had 78 hundredths. We're supposed to get 2.6 for the month. And in February, we only had 79 hundredths. We're supposed to get almost 2. So that puts us for 3 months at about a 5-inch loss. So it's not good news, and we're just going to have to do it as best we can to get through the springtime until the big springtime thunderstorm starts rolling in. We're looking at sunny skies after the morning cloud deck, looking at a high in Cuero of about 83. 7-day forecast doesn't change much. We'll be staying in the low to mid 80s all the way through, and hopefully a sprinkle or two next week. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that, put Crossroads Today on your phone. And here's Shawna.
Most people avoid talking about money, but coming up, one woman is bringing financial lessons to places you would never expect, and it's working. The markets closed out the week in the red. The Dow dropping 1% today, the S&P 500 down 30 points, and the Nasdaq dropped more than 200 points. The price of oil spiked $1.81 to $67.02 per barrel. A new report shows the producer price index rose more than expected last month. The PPI measures inflation at the wholesale level. The Bureau of Labor Statistics says it rose 0.5 percentage point last month. That's higher than economists had predicted and a slight uptick from December. The annual rate of inflation nudged down slightly. Experts say tariffs could be driving up the cost of trade services. The good news is gas and food prices dipped at the producer level. Building wealth creates financial security for future generations, but historic barriers have made that harder for some communities. Michael Yoshida shows us how organizations are helping communities of color build long-term financial success.
For years, minorities in America have struggled to build wealth they can pass on to future generations. Experts say obstacles like redlining and predatory lending limited opportunities.
Structural racism that was explicitly designed to keep some communities out and keep them from actually being able to access exactly the assets that would then in turn build wealth.
The Urban Institute is based in Washington, D.C. and works to equip local leaders across the country with data and tools to advance upward mobility and help families thrive. Michael Neal is one of its senior fellows.
Structural racism is oftentimes the trauma that communities of color can sometimes face when they're engaging with money. And so ensuring that we also have that kind of support system in place that as they access their credit score, as they fill out the applications to say purchase a home, that any of those emotional barriers are rooted out so that they can continue along the process successfully.
According to the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond, nearly 35% of white families reported receiving an inheritance or gift, compared to about 13% of black families in 2019. And those white families on average received nearly $150,000 more than black families. But there are change makers committed to closing the gap.
I am the disruptor when it comes to finance.
Darvintia Warren founded Core DMV, a financial empowerment and workforce development firm. It serves the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area.
Our mission is to make financial freedom accessible to all. You're not going to see me at the typical function, but you will see me at the basketball game or with the entertainers or with the youth.
Warren is partnered with Baltimore County Schools and offers financial literacy courses for students, families, and staff. But her program goes beyond the classroom and allows people to apply what they've learned.
We incorporate the real tax advantage tools with a stipend that would allow them sort of seed money to start that growth account. So in the end, they've been empowered, they've been educated, but they can also now take action.
Action, Warren hopes, will help communities build financial legacies for generations to come. In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
Would you like a side of AI with your Whopper? Well, Burger King says it is piloting an AI chatbot named Patty in 500 restaurants. She's connected to worker headsets, and the chain says she can help with manners. It says the idea is not to survey employees or enforce a script. Rather, it's to give managers feedback on hospitality norms. Burger King says Patty also can help manage orders and restocking. It says it wants to take Patty nationwide by the end of this year. Well, from your childhood Game Boy to today's Pokemon Go, coming up, the franchise spanning 3 decades.
Bill Clinton testifies in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation, plus the massive military buildup. Will the U.S. strike Iran? And tracking 2 new storms possibly headed for the Northeast. More Americans turn to World News Tonight with David Muir, the #1 newscast in America.
Pokemon is celebrating 30 years as a global phenomenon. It all started in Japan with 2 Game Boy titles. Pocket Monsters Red and Green was shortened to Pokemon in Japanese, spawning what's now considered the world's highest grossing media franchise. From an anime series to trading cards and the hit mobile app Pokemon Go, the brand has spanned generations. More than 75 billion cards have been produced, and earlier this month, a single card sold for more than $16 million. Incredible what some ideas and creations can turn into.
And I missed that generation, so I don't even know what that is.
I remember the Pokemon Go craze when everybody was, walking around with their phone. And
yeah, the only thing I remember is Mario, because my kids would play it and ding, 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 that little song that it has. But otherwise, I was into Superman, Batman, that kind of stuff. Anyway, folks, yes, it's going to be feeling like springtime out there. Temperatures low to mid 80s right on through the next 9 days.
Well, thanks for joining us. We'll see you back here at 6, and have a great weekend.